Hello my friends, welcome to another video. This video is hopefully going to be the start of some bonus videos that I am planning to do throughout the season of fall. I decided about a week or so ago that I was going to put myself on an eyeshadow no-buy from here until the rest of the year. And I felt like that is a great opportunity to shop my stash of my current eyeshadow palettes and also share those palettes that I'm revisiting with you all. Now, the only exception to my no-buy / low-buy of eyeshadow palettes is going to be the Danessa Myricks Mini Lightworks palette, available at Sephora and on Danessa Myricks Beauty. I'm hoping it's still around or in stock for the Sephora VIB sale because it is a pricey palette. And if it is, then there is a good chance that I will be picking up that palette. Other than that, I am going to try my best to stay firm in my palette no-buy. So as we all know, the fall season has started, and like I said, I want to revisit some palettes in my collection that I feel are a perfect option for fall. Starting off with one that I really love and I haven't picked up in a minute, and it's just because I've been rotating a lot of other palettes, and this is from Urban Decay. It's the Urban Decay Naked Wild West palette. Now, I believe this palette came out last year, 2021. I think early 2021 it came out, and I actually picked it up, if I'm not mistaken, earlier this year. It was on sale, I forget how much, and I decided to pick it up. If you haven't seen this palette, this is what it looks like on the inside. So it comes in that traditional, Urban Decay Naked palette packaging. It's a hard plastic packaging. We've got our slim rectangular shapes. You can see we do have a lot of really pretty fall colors here and right here, as well as some pops of colors with that blue, with those blue turquoisey shades, as well as some cool tones in this palette. The eyeshadows in this palette are all vegan shadows, which is part of the reason why I decided to pick it up. As many of you know, I have a carmine allergy, and therefore when I'm looking for eyeshadows, I need to make sure either they're vegan or they don't contain carmine. The palette also comes with its own double-ended brush, as do most of the Urban Decay Naked palettes. I actually haven't used this one yet. You can see it's still brand new, but it's pretty much the same brush that comes in the Naked Honey palette, which I do have that one as well, and same format. All right, so I have my base done. We are going to jump straight into the eyes, and I'm going to start off with priming. We're using Urban Decay, so let's just keep it going with my Urban Decay eyeshadow primer potion. This is one of my favorites. And this one that I'm using specifically today is the anti-aging one. The original one works just as fine, so whatever you want to use. I'm going to take a brush and just kind of blend that over my eyelid. So I have the eyeshadow primer applied, and for today's look, I wanted to do more of a cooler toned look. Of course, it has some beautiful warm shades in this palette that we could definitely use and would be totally appropriate for fall, but I have a couple of other palettes that are mostly warm tones or only warm tones in the works, so let's save the warm tone looks for those palettes. The first shade that I'm gonna pick up is this shade right here, Laredo. That's what we're gonna pick up, and I'm gonna, I just dipped my finger into one of these shades, darn it. And I'm gonna pick that up, my Rose & Ben E28 brush. If you are new here, these are some of my favorite brushes for the eyes. So I went ahead and picked up about that much, and we're gonna place this in our crease and slightly above our crease. And obviously today's video is not a first impressions. I've used this palette multiple times and I know how these shadows work. I don't know actually if I did a full-on review of this palette on my channel. I can't remember, but if I did, I'll go ahead and link it somewhere in the cards or in the description box for you guys to check it out. Okay, so I went ahead and applied it, like I said, in my crease and a little bit above. I also went in with this Morphe E30, a little bit more of a fluffy brush, just to blend out these edges. And I kind of took just whatever I picked up with this brush from what was on my lid and brought it further in. I'm not going for a super dark, cool tone look. It's still daytime, so I want to do something that's more daytime appropriate. I use that word loosely. I mean, you can wear whatever look at any time of day that you want, so you do you, but I didn't want something super intense. Now I am gonna go in with the same fluffy brush and pick up a little bit more and just kind of tap it in the crease and blend in small circular motions. Not going too crazy with it. Kind of extend it into that cat eye shape that I like. It's not going to be like super cat eye, but just to have some of that color kind of fade out this way. So I got the other eye caught up. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to tap into the deepest shade into this palette right over here called Pony Up, and I'm going to use that same E28 brush, right? Is that what this is? I'm going to use that same E28 brush from Rose and Ben, and I'm going to apply it just on the tip of the brush ever so slightly. And I'm going to place that right into the fold of my crease. See that? It's pretty pigmented. It's like this pretty grayish blue-gray shade. And then I'm going to pick up a little bit more of that Pony Up shade on the side of that E28 brush and pat it in this outer corner. Patting it there and kind of blending it into where we applied it in the fold of the crease. And then going back to that fluffier Morphe brush, I'm just going to use that to kind of gently buff that shade. When working with these types of shades, obviously they're cooler tone and a bit darker. You could totally do your eyes first before your base if you're worried about fallout, but like I said, this is not a first impressions on this palette. I'm fully aware of how much fallout or the degree of fallout it has. As of right now, I have virtually no fallout whatsoever. You will notice that I'm doing a lot of tapping, pressing motions, and small circles, so that definitely helps. And I'm not loading up a ton of pigment on my brush. So depending on your method of application, you may want to consider doing your base after your eyes if you're worried about fallout. Okay, so we're still working off of that deepest shade, the Pony Up. I'm switching to a smaller, more angled brush. This is from Rose and Ben as well, the E27. And I'm going to pick up the Pony Up, and I'm going to use that just to press it as close as I can to my lash line on the outer portion here. I'm not doing like a smoked out wing or anything. I just want to press it to the lash line so we have that cohesion between where I applied the color here and the lash line. Okay, here comes the fun part. The next shade I'm going to go into is that deep turquoise blue shade Tex right next to Pony Up. I went ahead and just wiped off my E28 brush on a microfiber cloth. These brushes luckily don't absorb a lot of pigment, so it's easy to just wipe it off and dip into the next shade. So I'm going to go ahead and dip into that shade. Okay, I've got about that much on the brush. Okay, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna press and pull. So I'm gonna start right about here and pull up until where the Pony Up shade is. Okay, what a pretty color. We're just going to saturate the lid, pressing and pulling and then patting to move the shade around. And I have not dipped back in for more. I'm just with the pigment that I picked up. I am moving it around. How pretty is that shade? So much for not going for something so intense. I picked up a little bit more just to kind of saturate this inner area. And I'm kind of blending the pony shade and this turquoise tech shade. And with the E27, that smaller angled brush, I'm going to pick up just a little bit of that tech shade to get my inner corner here. And then with that E27 brush, I'm going to place it right here. I didn't pick up any more product, and I'm just going to blend out this inner corner. So you can see I have a bit of a hooded lid, and I do want this shade, when I'm looking straight on, to pop out just a little bit here. So you can see where it is. Well, I can. I hope you guys can. What I'm doing is I'm tilting my head back just a little bit and following that line. So it's, the color is peeking out ever so slightly over my hood or my lid. You can see it there. And if you have hooded eyes like me, take your time, kind of just gently moving it around. And we're going to do the same thing on the other eye. And I'm going to go into that fluffy brush. We have no real product on it. And all I'm going to do is ever so slightly blend that blue turquoise shade into where it met with the transition, just to smooth out the harsh lines. And for the lower lash line, I'm going to go back into my E27. I already dusted it off on a cloth, and dip into Pony Up, which is again that like bluish gray shade, and press it into my lower lash line on this outer end and brush it up to where it meets with where we applied the pony shade in the outer corner. And we're just gonna keep going. I'm gonna dip into that turquoisey metallic shade right there in the middle, right here, Bud, on the E27. And I'm press that right into the middle of my lower lash line and into that Pony Up shade. And I am pressing the shade. I'm not rubbing it back and forth because I don't want that shimmer to get into my eye. Also gonna put some of that shade Bud right in the middle of my lid to mirror what we did on the lower lash line. I'm just winging it at this point. I'm gonna dip into this shade right here, Cowboy Rick, on that same E27. And we're going to place that right in the inner corner and connect it. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and do mascara and do some finishing touches, and we'll come back. So here we have the finished look. All I did was apply some mascara. I debated doing a winged eyeliner, but I decided this was intense enough for a daytime look for me, at least. So mascara, I did a more mauve, cool toned lip to match the eyes, and here we have it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like I said in the beginning, I do have quite a few warm toned palettes coming as part of this series of bonus videos, or shop my stash for fall, so stay tuned for that. But I really loved going kind of outside of that typical warm tones and playing with some color. And I also really love that I decided to shop my stash and really revisit palettes that I love and just don't use because I have so many. Obviously, the Naked Wild West being one. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Do you have this palette and are you using it? And whether or not you guys are doing a low buy, no buy for makeup. I'm really trying to commit to this and shop my stash. Maybe I'll do a YouTube video showing you guys my eyeshadow palette collection. That's an idea. So leave a comment below if you're interested in that. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed today's video. A little different from most of my review videos. Stick around for more to come. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Layla. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you're subscribed before you leave. And if you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. Thank you for tuning in again, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.